Bafana beat Uganda by 2-0. But how did they do it? Well, we're going to look at the starting 11 and why Hugo Bruce chose the players that he chose. How we played, the structure of the team. We're going to look at the adjustments that Bruce made in game. We're going to look at the impact of the substitutes. We're going to look at the overall game plan and whether or not it worked. So let's start with the starting 11, and the main people that I want us to talk about is the fact that he played Utebogo Mokoena, Ubathusi Aupas, and Luke Leroux in midfield. And that's where people were like, what is happening? And actually, when you watch the match, you were like, maybe that's not a good combination. And people are right to say this because if you look at the combination of those three players, you have Aupas, you have Mokoena, and Leroux. All of them are traditionally defensive midfielders. But if you ask me, why did Bruce do this? His priority was not really to create chances as quickly as we can, but he was trying to keep control. Problem is, if you play these three guys together, you are sacrificing creativity, and that is why the first half just ended without Bafana actually having a single shot on target. If you have that situation now, you are in a position whereby, yes, you are controlling what's happening in the game, but you are not doing anything going forward in terms of creativity. Which brings us to the second thing, the formation and structure, and how Bruce was trying to do this. Obviously, we know Bafana, they are starting with this system of a 4-2-3-1, but that's not how they play at all. When they are building up, they build up with the 3, which includes the goalkeeper and the 2 center backs. But one thing that I want you guys to note about this whole thing is that it's a staggered midfield, but they are more like in a line and forming a triangle in midfield. You'll have Mokoena maybe being on the right or on the left, and then you'll have Leroux being more central, and then you have Aupas being on the right. So they are making sure that it's not easy for the other team that is pressing them to just say, okay, we'll just make a straight 4 here, but now they have to adjust. And when you do that, you are now forcing this person to press us in a way that we dictate, not in the way that they want. Because if they are pressing with just a flat 4, then they are just going to come at us straight. But if we slightly twist the way that we position our players, then it forces them to also leave gaps in between their players, and then we can now try and progress the ball. Which brings us to the other thing, the fact that Bafana were also trying these long balls, which never worked. Like, you can just see from the screen the clips of Bafana over and over and over again trying to go for the long ball. But as I said, it never worked. And while we're here, it will not work if you are not subscribing to the channel. So do make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that we can get to 10,000 subscribers. Now, next up is obviously the other thing, that is, what did the coach do? Because he realized that, hey, there was a problem here and it needs to be fixed. And the first thing that he changed is that he changed Leroux and he started playing him deeper. Now it was him and Mokoena being the double pivots, and Aupas was further ahead. And how did this help anything, you ask? Well, if you look at the goal, you'll see that Aupas is much more physical and is much more aggressive in his press compared to Luke Leroux. And you see in the goal, he's just there pressing the guy and forcing him back, and eventually win the ball back, and we end up scoring the goal. So that adjustment really helped the team, and we scored the goal. The other adjustment that we saw was Ronwen Williams was trying by all means to shout at him down, to tell him to move up, because he wasn't really, sometimes wanted to be slightly deeper so that to collect the ball. I don't know whether this is because he knows that Umvala, like, not that he's bad on the ball, but he's not the most a prolific player on the ball. So he was trying to compensate for that by being closer to him. But we saw Ronwen time and time again just telling him to go further forward. So that was also a slight adjustment. And another adjustment that we'll talk about is the fact that, after talking about the subs, obviously, is that Umfana Loaga Maswanganyi was brought on as a 10, but he then moved to play as a winger. And after playing as a winger, he was still playing technically as a 10, because when they brought on Talent Mbata, that meant Maswanganyi would have to go and play as a winger, but then he would invert into midfield because Ubasatin was overlapping on that side. So that made Tito also slightly unpredictable because he's not having a fixed position, but he starts wide and he runs in. And we'll talk about that right now as we talk about the impact of the subs, which is very important because that means the coach saw what was working and saw what was not working and brought on Maswanga. And so the first one is the fact that obviously Umrena comes on and he scores a goal, because that finish, some people might take it for granted. But remember, naturally this guy is not a striker, but Bruce clearly sees him as a winger who can give us goals. When we're in Bloemfontein, he scored a goal there as well. So if people are still sleeping on Umrena even now, I do not know what I'm going to say to you to convince you there is a very good and important player for Bafana. And obviously scores a goal, and Maswanganye as well, him in his new role playing as a winger who inverts into midfield, he ends up scoring a goal, and Bafana win that game comfortably by 2-0. So the question is, did we do the things that we wanted to do? Yes, because we controlled the game. We did not allow Uganda to be in the game. Because one of the things that people not underestimate is the fact that certain teams allow you or only thrive in games against you if you let them play. Against Uganda, we did not allow them to play. And since we did not allow them to play, by having that compact midfield and having people who are able to keep the ball in midfield, to give away the ball easily with silly mistakes, we were able to do that. So I'll take that and say, let's see how Bafana does when we come back to play our last game in Cape Town. Let's buy the ticket, guys, in Cape Town and go and watch the game. But what did you guys think of the game? Do let me know down in the comment section below, and check out this other video.